Hi everybody, this is race day for Friday, March 29, 2013. I'm Jeff Cummings here with Coast Swimming World correspondent Mike Stott, and we're here at the IU Natatorium where we just had an amazing night two at the Men's Swimming and Diving Championships. Another American record, just a lot of great swims, 2 American records actually, and then the fastest 200 medley relay ever swum in history. Just a lot of great swimming. We're going to start with that 200 medley relay where Michigan, in a little bit of a surprise, swam the fastest 200 medley relay ever, 1:22:27. That was a U.S. Open record because the Ortiz brothers are not American citizens, and so therefore they couldn't qualify as the American record. But it was Cal who got second, 1:23:17, and they set the American record because all their swimmers are American swimmers. And Arizona, who formerly had the American record, also got under that record, which was 1:23:3 with a 1:23:23. Just 3 great, incredible relays, a lot of fantastic swims. Fastest backstroke was Miguel Ortiz of Michigan, 20.03. His brother Bruno Ortiz had the fastest breaststroke, 23.07. Tom Shields, a fantastic butterfly, 1971. And of course, Vlad Morozov, fastest freestyle, but it wasn't under 18, it was 18:23. Now, Mike, I think the key for Michigan was they got out early and Bruno Ortiz was able to hold off Kevin Shields and go at 23.07 breaststroke, which I think was really key for them. If they were able to hold off Kevin Cordes, it gave them the momentum for Sean Fletcher to go in and have his spectacular fly leg.
Well, I agree. It helped that they were first after the fly, first after the back, but very strong breaststroke leg, as you say. And then their freestyle that came home was the second fastest split coming home, so why not?
Yeah, Zach Turk, the Division III transfer, coming in with his first 8 sub-19 second swim. He had to be really thrilled about that. I mean, just imagine, you come in from Division III where he was really good as a 50 freestyler or 100 freestyler, winning a lot of championships, and then here he is at probably one of the best schools in the nation, his first Division I meet, and now he has an American record.
Well, and the school he came from wasn't too shabby in the sprints either, can it?
Yeah, they were always very good. All right, next event, slowed down a little bit, 400 IM. I always kind of hate actually saying slowing down because it was a very fast final.
Well, that's because the winner was 7th after just in 8th, barely after the backstroke.
Yes, absolutely. Chase Kalisz took that race out back half tremendously, breast and freestyle, to win it. Lifetime best 3:38.05 to break into the top 10 all time. Michael Weiss of Wisconsin, a really good swim for him. He took out the race and he was the leader after the backstroke. He came home 3:39.61, held on. I thought he was going to die harder, and he did, but he really held on. And then kind of the surprise in 3rd place was Florida sophomore Dan Wallace, 3:39.87. 3 guys under 3:40 is a spectacular swim in textile, in jammers. I don't think we may have had that in 2009 when everybody was wearing the super suits, but to go under 3:40 for 3 swimmers is really just kind of amazing. You think if Sebastian Russo hadn't gotten disqualified this morning, we might have seen 4th.
Who knows? Sebastian had a very good swim, and Greg Troy spoke to the officials about that, but they weren't interested in upholding his back-to-breast disqualification. They were interested in upholding the back-to-breast disqualification, not over.
Yeah, I'm sure that had a lot of, he was a little bit angry about that when he went into 800 free relay, which we'll talk about a little bit later. 100 fly was next, and it was Tom Shields defending his title, 44.59. Really just a great swimmer. I think it's his best time ever. Still knocking on that door of getting Austin Staub's American record, which is 44.1. I can't imagine going 44.1 in 100 fly. And Tom Shields still has time. I mean, he's a post-grad now, but they have short course nationals. He could still do it. So I'm sure that's going to be a goal for him. Marcin Cieslak of Florida, as expected, he was expected to be top 3, and he was second, 45.35. I think the big surprise here was Sean Fletcher of Michigan, 45.54. Now, this is a guy who, up until 2 weeks ago, was the National Public High School record holder in the 100 fly. A lot of expectations had been put on him when he went to Michigan. Hadn't really lived up to a lot of those until tonight. I mean, he had that great 50 fly split on the medley relay, and then out of lane 1, getting 3rd for Michigan. Huge points, moved up in his seed. I think for me, seeing Tom win, great. Seeing Marcin get second, great. Sean Fletcher, it's almost like, where did that come from?
I think he's riding that momentum that Big Blue has got going for him right now.
Yeah, and I mean, the momentum is just across the board.
Exactly.
200 freestyle. Now, when I did a preview show with Corey Chibwood, I said Joao DeLuca is going to be in the hunt. for this 200 free title after getting third last year, and he did not disappoint. He went out under U.S. Open record pace for 150 yards, probably was under it for 175 yards, and he pushed off that wall, and that 5 grand pianos fell on him, I think. He came home at 24-1 after going out 23-0, 23-0. So, it goes to show you how hard it is to go 131 anything. But it also just goes to show how fast Simon Burnett's 131.2 is, and how great Ricky Barron's 131.3 from a couple weeks ago is. But Jal from lane 1 just took it out, and I was a little concerned. I mean, when you're going out that fast, how hard is the piano going to fall? But he did hold on for first place. Dmitry Kulipayev, who I thought was also going to be in the hunt, got second, 132.7, and Tom Kramer from Stanford, 133.07. This is becoming kind of the trend of the night. The trend of the night is all these third places getting in as big surprises. I mean, Tom Kramer, who I don't think had ever finaled in anything in NCAAs, all of a sudden he had seeded third against these big guns. The defending champion Dax Hill out in lane 8. You got DeLuca, you got Kulipayev, you got Connor Yeager. And, David Nolan had talked about this in his interview, is like he had to try to tell Tom Kramer he belonged in this final. And I think Tom Kramer probably, when he stepped up on that block, said, I belong in this final. And he raced those guys. So
he showed it, didn't he?
He did. Congratulations to him getting third. 100 breaststroke, American record. I didn't really expect it, and I guess I had my doubts because Kevin Cordes doesn't always swim faster in finals than he does in prelims, but he proved me wrong. 50.76, the fastest 100-yard breaststroke ever done in history. He beat Damir Duganyik's U.S. Open record of 50.8. That was set in 2009. So
actually, that was 50.74. Let's not cheat him those 200s.
We won't cheat him those 200s. Thank you for correcting me on that, Mike. 50.74. Great swim for him. But was even better, the big surprise, Kevin Steele, his teammate from Arizona. The two Kevins going 1-2. 51.69 for Kevin Steele. I mean, just a out of nowhere swim for him. It really goes to show how big a lot of these people know that they have to swim in order to win. And to be honest, the second place time is a little bit slower than I thought it was going to be. Cody Miller had gone 51.3 at the Big Tens. I kind of expected him to be in it, and then it turns out he gets disqualified out in lane 8, so it was a big disappointment for him. I did expect the second place time to be a little bit faster, a little bit closer to that 50 point, but second is second at this meet. Nobody really remembers the time. Kevin will probably not remember the time.
Well, I'll say one thing that impressed me about that race is if it stopped it at the 50, Kevin Cordes was only 0.03 ahead of his teammate Kevin Steele. Yeah,
that will show how much Kevin really knew he had to go out in order to stay with the field. Third place, Michigan. Again, he's moved up. Richard Funk, 51.84. Fourth place, Nicholas Fink, 51.85. I mean, Mike, what do you think about 4 guys going under 52 in 100 breaststroke?
I think it proves how fast this meet is and how good swimming is getting.
Yeah, it really is, and I think Kevin is kind of setting the bar higher for everybody. They know that if they want to keep up with him, they've got to get faster.
Well, if they don't, they're going to be left behind.
Yeah, pretty much, and left behind in a big way. All right, 100 backstroke. We were trying to see if Tom Shields was going to make history. Nobody on the men's side of this meet has ever done won the 100 fly and 100 back in 2 successive meets. Well, Natalie Coughlin's the only person who's ever done it in history, and she did it 4 times, which, it's Natalie Coughlin, no sweat. But Tom couldn't do it tonight. He got second in that 100 back to David Nolan, who broke 44.99. He went out fast, he held on, and I've just really kind of I guess not surprised, but I'm just, I just really had expected Tom's last 25 to be a little bit better than it was. And I don't know if, the intensity of swimming the fly on the medley relay, the intensity of that 100 fly, and the intensity of the 100 back just really caught up to him this year. Maybe it just wasn't as an easy turnaround as it was this year.
Well, I think Dave Durden has said this is the toughest year that Tom has had at this particular meet. And I think the other thing that we probably need to give props to for David Nolan is that I'm sure he was riding the wave off that 200 IM win last night.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty special win for him.
It was very special, and I think he had a lot of confidence. And I think last year when he didn't win the 200 IM, I think it kind of set him back a peg. He just got touched out in both of those backstrokes last year. So I think this is setting up for what could be a monster 200 backstroke. But, that 200 backstroke is a loaded field again like the 100 back was, so you never know. We'll give props to Eric Rest, too. Third place, 45.31. He's been kind of up and down this season. He took last year off as an Olympic redshirt, didn't make the French Olympic team, so I think he was really hungry this year. And for him to be able to get his hand on the wall third, I think is a big accomplishment
and
for him.
let's remember, he had a great meet two years ago.
Yes,
as
he did.
Well.
He did.
So.
I'm sure Cal was kind of wishing Tony Cox had swum faster. He got ninth in the B final with a 45.46, which would have placed fourth overall.
Wow.
That would have been big points for California. They wouldn't be ahead of Michigan with that,
they'd
but
be
they'd be a lot closer. They probably have a lot more confidence going in. So I'm sure, they're probably beating themselves up. Tony's probably beating himself up. I wish I had just gone just a hair faster, but points are points. He's got the 9 points for Cal, and that's going to help them any way they can.
It sure will.
So 3-meter diving took center stage next, and this was a really good battle, Mike. It was really good, up and down. Nick McCrory took the lead after the first round. Huge dive for him. Christian Ibsen was kind of like, just scoring 7.5s, 8s, 8.5s, which you think for Christian Ibsen, he should be scoring 10s on the 3-meter. It's his best board. But he told us in the interview he saved his best for last. And it was a really good one. And it was like a 3.5, 2.5 twist and a 2.5 somersault, and it just really nailed it. Got 9s, got almost 100 points on it. And I think that was really key for him. What was also key is that Nick McCrory botched his last dive, which kind of opened that door wide for Christian to just walk right in.
Interesting tale. After the fourth round, I spoke to the Stanford coach, and he just shook his head and he said he's not catching Nick. And then as the events unfolded, as you just described, and voila, we have a 10-point win for our man from Stanford.
Yeah, it kind of goes along with, takes me back to the 10-meter platform at the London Olympics. Everybody's like, I don't know if David Badaya can win, and then all of a sudden the door opens just a little bit, and you just have to walk in. Just walk in and take it.
And he did.
And he did. So congratulations to Christian Ibsen taking first. Nick McCrory was 10 points back, and then it was Darian Schmidt of Indiana. The Hoosier was third, 425.50. I'm sure the crowd here loved that, all the Indiana fans.
I saw Dick Kimball on deck. I'm sure he was loving it.
Yeah, Dick Kimball is well loved around here, and he is very appreciative of every single great diver that comes through this natatorium. And
whether it's his or not.
Whether it's his or not, but it's really good to see. It's always good to see these historic, legendary coaches. Dick Kimball. I mean, John Urbanchek's still hanging around, and
yes, he is.
Now at USC, but everything every time I see him on deck, it's just great that he doesn't decide to retire this year.
Well, and John said underneath that black USC shirt he was wearing, he had a blue one. So,
yeah. He's
metaphorically, I think, but who knows about tomorrow?
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anything can happen. Finishing off the 800 free relay. Speaking of anything can happen, I think everybody had written it off that Michigan was going to win. They had 8 guys in the 200 free entered this morning. They had only 2 guys make it back. Florida only swam 1 guy in the top 16 800 free relay, but we should have expected Sebastian Russo, Marcin Cieslak to be able to do some amazing things. So, and they did. I mean, they were really phenomenal on their relays. 133 low, 132 for Marcin, and it was just absolutely phenomenal, and they won the relay. I was really kind of expecting Michigan to run away with it like Georgia women did last week. But Florida just opened the door. Like I said, Sebastian probably had a little bit of
something to prove.
And then Dan Wallace, the sophomore who had the great 400 IM, he had a great anchor too. So we don't want to forget him either. And Pavel Werner, who was their 200 freestyler earlier in the meet, came back, had a solid 200 freestyle. It's hard to do 3 200 freestyles in one day. As we saw, a lot of these people just really were a second slower, almost 2 seconds slower than they swam in the individual 200. It's really hard to do, and Florida knew that if they wanted to win this relay and kind of knock Michigan down a peg, they had to step up. And like I said, Sebastian had a little bit of rest. He didn't have that 400 IM tonight. Marcin only had the 100 fly, but Dan had that 400 IM. So for him to be able to step up after 2 400 IMs, I think that's more impressive than 3 200 freestyles.
They earned it.
They definitely earned it. Michigan was second, 6:15.54, and Southern Cal was third. So wrapped up another great day. Michigan is 35 points ahead of not Southern California. They're 35 points ahead of California going into this last day. California probably had their best day today, but they are not going to give this up without a fight. Michigan probably has a good day tomorrow. They got a lot of milers. They got a lot of the 200 specialists. Their 100 freestylers look very good, and that 400 freestyle relay is going to be a dog fight between 4 teams. So we're just going to have to wait and see how it all shakes out. I don't think it's going to really be decided probably until that 200 breaststroke. I think that's when it's going to be decided. And, you know, I guess probably the good thing is that none of the top teams have divers. So that probably, you know, nobody's going to say, well, we won the swim meet. You know, you don't have to count diving. You know, I think Skip Kinney had done that a lot when Eddie Reese beat him every time at Texas. He always said, we won the swim meet. So no divers for the top teams this year. So it's all pure swimming points at the top of the leaderboard. And it's going to be very exciting. I think it's going to be one of those things where it depends on how, like it was this morning, how everybody does in prelims and set themselves up to score the points. It kind of brings me back to, just real quick, in 2000, I think it was 2011, when Dmitry Ganyuk, who's not a 200 breaststroker, did everything he could to get in the top 8 of the 200 breaststroke, and he got in the top 8. He got enough points, and he scored big points. And then he kind of didn't swim as well in the final, but that was all he needed. He needed to get those 8th place points in the final, as opposed to maybe the 8th place points in the B final, which is probably what he would have gotten. So I think that kind of is one of the things. You got to swim hard in the morning, and then, you know, just let it all out at night, especially this is the last night.
Well, Cal hasn't given up the ghost. As you say, they've got a good, they're set up for a good day tomorrow. Is it good enough? I think we'll find out.
We'll find out. So, Mike, thanks for joining us. We'll be here on deck again tomorrow for the 3rd night of finals at the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships. We hope you will join us after the session for another race day analysis. We have tons of video interviews for you to watch, to hear from coaches and athletes about their performances here at the IU Natatorium. So in between sessions, if you got nothing else to do, go to swimmingworld.tv and catch up on all the video interviews that we have for you. For now, for Mike Stott, I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.